And the truth is this: Joe Biden being elected when he got elected is just devastating for the country. Now, there's never a good time to have an old, demented fool who can't speak anymore, who's surrounded by card-carrying communists. There's never a good time to have that guy be elected president. It's not like, oh, wow, it's 1954, we're fine with Joe. No, it would always suck. But man, we quite literally couldn't afford to have Joe Biden become president of the United States of America because of the insane COVID response around the world, but also in this country. We simply put ourselves in a real bind. So when 2020 came around, we really could not afford someone like Joe Biden to be installed, elected, whatever you want to call it. We simply couldn't afford it as a nation. And to be honest with you, if you're screaming at the TV right now, they did it to Trump's economy on purpose, you're 100% right, they did. If you're screaming at the TV right now, they used COVID to stop Trump, to get him out of office, you're right, they did. But let's also keep in mind the insane COVID response in this country began here.
We're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days. As we combat the virus, each and every one of us has a critical role to play in stopping the spread and transmission of the virus. We did this today. This was done by a lot of very talented people, some of whom are standing with me.
I know that hurts, but that's where the path to destruction began. The very idea that you should look at your economy when a virus comes, for any reason really, but when a virus comes, that you should look at your economy and say, stop. Everyone stop moving. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll press pause. And then whenever we feel like it, we'll unpause it, guys. That is insane. Anybody who's even vaguely familiar with how to run a small mom and pop shop will tell you that is insane to do for a nation, let alone a world. You're putting yourself on the path of destruction. Okay, so 15 days to slow the spread put us on the path to destruction. Then 2 years later, Joe Biden runs for office. Now, he knows that Democrats used COVID to destroy the economy so Donald Trump could get elected. Joe Biden knows all that. The problem is when you run for 2 years on being pro-lockdown, you can't get elected and then say, okay, we're done with the lockdowns. So what has the Joe Biden solution been? Lie about it.
Look, the bottom line is we made a lot of progress over the last 20 months to build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out instead of the trickle-down economics that failed us the last 40 years. And we just have to keep going, in my view. What I'm most excited about is people are starting to feel a sense of optimism as they see the impact of the achievements in their own lives. So the economy is up, price inflation is down, real incomes are up, gas prices are down and need to come down further. Our economy is strong as hell.
Everything's good. Everything's good. Everything's fine. But here's the thing. Back to that talk we were having about you and me and how we're different. You already know the numbers. You know the inflation numbers. You know people are hurting. But people who aren't watching I'm Right Now, they understand the economy's not good too. Why? Because they buy eggs. They buy meat. They buy materials. Have you ever priced construction? Have you priced construction materials recently out there? Things are not good. Things are very, very, very bad. Things are so bad, I can't believe this somehow is out of the news already. You know we already had a recession during Joe Biden's presidency, right? 2 straight quarters of economic shrinkage. By definition, that's a recession. Yet they all just decided, the definition changed.
Well, we're certainly in a transition, and we are seeing slowing as we all would have expected. But I think if you look at the full data and the type of data that NBER looks at, virtually nothing signals that this period in the second quarter is recessionary.
President Biden has said we've entered a new phase in our recovery, focused on achieving steady, stable growth without sacrificing the gains of the last 18 months.
Look at it more broadly at the data, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing is that we are in a transition.
it doesn't seem that the U.S. economy is in recession right now.
That doesn't sound like a recession to me. Thank you very much.
Back to the old Biden strategy of just lie. It's actually quite simple when you have no moral compass whatsoever. Whatever something's going wrong, you just lie. So back to the economy that's going bad. It is bad. And if you're paying attention to anything out there right now, any of the economic indicators from the layoffs to the new home builders, the things they're saying to things like that, you understand that we are heading into a very, very dark period economically, which again circles back to Joe Biden and how we just simply could not afford to have this old fool elected because they are 100% committed to the climate change death cultists whose entire purpose in life is destroying an economy that's already down. Here's our own Treasury Secretary.
I think climate change is an existential threat to our globe and to our future. You can see that countries, it is a long-term risk, but it is becoming notably more severe. I do believe that transition risks are very real as more and more countries adopt frameworks that are meaningful to address climate change. We could see significant changes in asset valuations that pose risk to financial institutions.
That's the Treasury Secretary. Treasury Secretary is sitting around right now, not stressing about your inflation, stressing about that SUV you drive.